to my channel. We're gonna jump straight into this video. This is my first attempt at making an ottoman, and it was definitely a struggle in the beginning. I had a hard time getting those three pieces together. The bottom piece that you see that's already attached, I nailed it first and it was kind of unstable to me, so I glued it down with some wood glue and it helped secure it a little better. And all I'm going to do is repeat the same steps for the opposite side. I suggest you do nail first versus using glue first, because the nails actually held the wood in place so it didn't slide or become uneven after I applied the glue. Now that the two side pieces have been glued and dried, you're going to add the back piece and the front piece and do the exact same method. Nail first and then apply glue. I'll be sure to put all material needed in the description box. I actually got the measurements for this ottoman from the website where I purchased my couch. There was an ottoman that went with it, but I just took the measurements that they gave for that particular ottoman and used it when I went to Home Depot to get the wood cut. I'm going to suggest that if you plan on using this as a everyday use or lounging, then use thicker wood. The thicker the better as far as seating. I don't plan on using mine as anything other than decoration, so the wood style or wood type didn't matter to me. I found it a lot easier to stand it up once I connected the back piece to the sides. All you need to do really is just nail maybe a nail or two just to hold it in place, and then go from there. Once it's all together, you're going to go around the inside with wood glue, let it dry, and you're ready for the next step. So now we're ready to move on to the top. All I did was lay out the fabric and put that piece of wood on top and cut around, leaving an extra 2 inches of space, and stapled the sides and the bottom, leaving the top open. And as you can see, I'm stuffing from the top. And I got the stuffing from Joann's, and it was about $10, I believe, for that one bag. And you put as much as or as little as you want. And be sure, because this was a mistake that I made, be sure to use the stuffing tool. I had to go back and open it up later in the project, but use the stuffing tool to get down in the bottom corners, in all corners, and make sure that it's exactly the way you want it before you staple, because you don't want to ruin your fabric. Once you've gotten the desired amount of stuffing, then all you do is flip that top flap of the fabric over and staple the back. Okay, so now that the top is complete, you're gonna move over to your box again, and the inside can be whatever color you want, the same as the outside. I just suggest that when you're choosing the fabric for the inside, that you pick something that's stretchy, because that was really helpful with this project. This was just some black fabric that I had laying around the house, and if I remember correctly, it was 1.5 yards. And it worked out just fine. The 1.5 yards was just the right amount for this size. And like I said, I put my measurements in the description box. I chose not to edit this part out because I'm going to show you what not to do. I stapled the fabric on the inside of the box already, but because it was stretchy, I thought it would be easy to go ahead and just staple it around the edges of the box too. That was unnecessary, because the fabric that I'm putting on the outside is going to flip over into the inside of the box, so it won't even be seen. Just go up far enough in the inside. And as you can see, the box is big enough for me to sit in it. So just imagine the amount of storage space you will have. But all I'm doing here is making sure that as I staple the fabric that I'm pulling and that it's tight. It's stretchy, so I wanted to get the full use of this fabric. That's why I was able to have enough. So if you want to be on the safe side, I suggest you get 2 yards of whatever stretchy fabric that you're going to use if you use the exact same dimensions that I'm going to give you. And I did not cut this fabric at all until I completely went from the front side, bottom side, back side, and then I cut. And then the remaining fabric that I had left over is what went on the 2 sides. So that's one big piece of fabric. Once you cut, just repeat the same steps and it should look something like this once you're done. Okay, so now it's time to start on the outside, and all I'm doing is cutting the fabric from the bottom side. I left about an inch or two for the top so that it can fold over into the inside, and I did the same for the bottom so that it wouldn't come undone once I stapled. Now would be the time to add stuffing if you want the upholstered look. If you plan on making yours that way, I suggest that you cut a little more fabric just so that there's room to staple once you add the stuffing. My fabric was not cut evenly all the way across. Like I said, this isn't for everyday use, so I kind of didn't care. But if you want to have that perfect straight across look, then I suggest you iron the fabric or hem it. And also, if you staple like I did already beforehand, then you could double side tape it or fabric glue it because you have the inside lined already. All I did was repeat the same steps on the opposite side. I want to also suggest that when you're stapling and you're putting these last pieces of fabric together, that you pull as tight as possible so that everything is smooth and already in place and you don't have to go back and correct anything. You should also pick a fabric that fits your needs. So if this is for everyday use, then find something that's easy to clean and not so hard to wipe down. But if it's just for decoration, then the fancier the better. I used about 3 yards of fabric for the outside, and I needed exactly 3 yards to complete this. As you can see, the fabric for the front and the back side was long enough for it to fold over onto the sides. I did that because I did not want the staples to show when I added the fabric onto the side pieces. So here's where it gets kind of tricky. I cut the fabric long enough so that it could hang over both sides. And all I did was fold it, and that means on each side you should not see any stray hairs from the fabric. I stapled 4 times down each side, so there was 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and 2 in the center. And you put them as close or as far apart as you want. Just make sure that the top and the bottom of the fabric are both secured. You're just going to repeat the same steps. So fold the fabric, we'll tuck it here, and you're going to staple at the top, twice in the middle and once at the bottom. And then you're going to secure the fabric that's inside the box and underneath the box. that's pretty much it. All you have to do is repeat the same step for the opposite side. And like I said, if you want the perfect look, then you can either iron the fabric before, you can add hemming tape, you can sew it, or you can fabric glue down the edges so that it won't be so crooked or uneven. And because there was so much excess fabric, all I did was go around the inside and trim it with my scissors. Like I said, there's different options that you can choose as to how you want to fix it. I really wasn't worried about it, so the scissors worked just fine. Okay, so now it's time to add your bling. This part is totally optional. I picked these buttons up from Michael's, and I believe they were like $4 for the bag. You can choose whatever color or style you want to go with. I couldn't find gold, so I went with the silver. Because I didn't want to sew the buttons to my fabric, I just simply got a tube of E6000 and glued it. You use the desired amount of glue. Do not overdo it, but make sure that there's enough to where the button actually sticks in place. If you use the correct amount, the button should not move at all. I realized I didn't show how to achieve the upholstered look, but you simply just place the buttons where you want them to go, as close or as far apart as you need them, and wherever the button is where you staple. I found it easier to staple in a T motion, so staple up and down and then staple left and right, and that'll be easier for the button to sit in its place. Okay, so once you finish that up, it's time to move on to the sides. You're simply gonna place a button wherever you stapled. So when I said tuck the fabric and staple at the top, twice in the center and once at the bottom, that's where you're gonna place your buttons. It doesn't take a lot of glue for the sides. A little goes a long way, because the more glue, the messier it is, and you don't want to ruin your fabric. But once that's done, let it dry and your project is complete. And here it is. Once you finish, it should look something like this. If this video was helpful to you, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.